Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Jeff at Geek Driven, and we are here for another episode of Week in Geek. I am part of the team Nerd Herd, and we are part of the Nearing Nirvana family. So we are here on the Nearing Nirvana YouTube channel. Of course, we've got here our special guest, James at Still Chilling Comics. What's going on, James? How you doing today?
I'm all right. You?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm excited to talk about some geeky news, some pop culture, and yeah, I'm just long week already. It's a long work week already, but I'm glad I get to geek out, get to unload, and not get to think about work. That's for sure. So
Right.
right. So with that said, let us give a shout out to our sponsors. If you go over to Cover Price, you can get 30 days of unlimited cover price for only 99 cents. And you just got to type in the code Nirvana14. And then if you go over to our pals over at Bird City Comics, you can get 10% off your purchase with the code TNH10. They've got a bunch of store exclusives, incentives, toys as well. And then you can go over to our pal DisplayGeek.com. You can protect those toys by saving 10% on your purchase at DisplayGeek.com by typing the code Team Nerd Herd. And then, of course, we give a shout out to our moderators, Uncle Rudy, that's Sensei Rudy 1, at Something Wong, at The Anime, etc., and at Glenn2K12. And then you can go and give a shout out to our resident DJ at Beats by Monster. Give a shout out to Eddie over on IG. And then, of course, we got some comments. We got some people in the chat. Of course, GTK Comics is here first, as usual, beating everybody with all the thumbs ups. And then, of course, we got Inja, the Beheader Binja. What's going on, Inja? Yes, I'm sorry. We were a minute late. I apologize. Please don't take my head. All right. With that said, let's get started with the deck. Do you have anything to say? I mean, have you heard any news lately?
I've heard things more than I've actually seen things. Just
Okay.
busy work week. Busy work week. Last week and this week.
All good. Well, we'll catch up today. All right. So, this is difficult because I only have one screen, but here we go. All right. So the first news is about comic books. So if you haven't heard, CGC and JSA has teamed up together. I actually believe CGC parent company purchased JSA. So now they've put that together with the signature series that they have going on. And now you can actually submit books that have not been witnessed, that are signed and not witnessed. And you can get them graded. They'll get this gold and black label. So a little black and yellow going on. I mean, I'm a little excited because as a card collector, as a sports memorabilia collector, I have a bunch of stuff that is certified by JSA. And I know that they have a laundry list of autographs and authenticators. So I don't know if they're necessarily experts, but I'm sure they've been used as experts before. And now you can, all those times that you've gone to a con or you just randomly found a comic creator or artist, and you just happen to have a comic book for them to sign, now you can go get those graded if you want, and you'll get this label here. So what do you think, James? What do you think about this whole ordeal?
I'm excited about it, but it also the only reason I'm not is because I'm going to be spending more money with CGC.
Yeah,
Because I
no,
know
go ahead.
I was gonna say I know I've gone to, like you said, I've gone to cons, I've gotten stuff signed. I've also just outright bought things that are signed. Like I know I have a you remember the Campbell cover that kind of had Black Cat and MJ on one side, and then one would be in color, and then one would just be the
Oh,
outline.
yeah.
Yeah, I got that. I bought that from a local vendor here signed, and then Campbell does all those things where he won't actually do CGC, but he'll sign his stuff on his site. And so I know a lot of people out there have a lot of Campbell to go on and submit. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know if I'm gonna jump straight on it. I've got
Right.
between cons coming up, and then got a magazine submission that I want to send through. Um, I'm probably gonna hold off on it for a little bit, but I like this new label, that little black strip with the actual autograph in cursive there. I think they
Yes.
did well on it.
Yeah, I think they nailed the label here. Uh, it still makes a distinction between the witnessed autographs and the non-witness autographs that have to be authenticated by JSA. So I like that there's that differential, but not that far off, and it looks kind of cool.
I actually, I'm looking at it now because I have one right here. I actually kind of like that one better, the JSA authenticated one better with that black strip.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm with you. I have like a half a short box full of signed comic books, from over the years. I probably even have books that are signed that I don't even remember getting them signed because they're signed on the inside.
Oh yeah.
So, God, I remember doing that a lot because, back then as a purist, you didn't want them to actually write on the cover either. So, yeah, I mean, there was always that. And I don't know if I'll be submitting anything soon, but I think it's cool that I have the option now. And I don't even care what the grade would come back as. I just would want it encapsulated so I don't mess up the comic book in the future because it's a memory. So I'm sure I'm going to use them, but not anytime soon.
Yeah,
And,
I think by the end of the year. I think by the end of the year for me, I will
yeah,
have at least one authenticated submission.
nice. Well, I can't wait to see it. I know you'll post it. Here are some examples though. So yeah, I mean they look clean with the comic books in there. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. Okay, and then we'll move on to some TV news. If you haven't heard, they are making a new The Office. They're making a new season, but it's not going to be with this original cast. And it sounds like, let me just see here what they're doing. It's the same documentary crew that filmed The Office and that immortalized Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch in a search of a new subject when they discover a dying historic Midwestern newspaper and the publisher. So they're going to go, that documentary crew is going to go find a Midwestern newspaper off, kind of like, how this is a paper company and paper is kind of going the way of the dodo, right? As we go more digital. And same thing with newspapers. So, what do you think of them making a new Office series and this concept?
I'm a withhold judgment until it comes out.
You're a huge, so you're an Office fan, right?
Somewhat. My wife is a huge Office fan, and I have watched the entire series with her. And I enjoy it. It's not one that I will continuously rewatch,
Right.
but I do enjoy it. And sometimes you got to let stuff rest for a while. And I know it's been a few years, but I feel like it hasn't rested long enough.
Mm. Well, I mean, I think excuse me. I think it goes into production in July. What's going on, Reedy? Thank you for dropping in. Yeah, what was I saying? I'm so sorry.
You were talking about production in July.
Oh yeah. So I think they go into production in July, but that probably means it wouldn't come out till next year. Because I don't know if they'll make it in time for the fall when shows usually
No.
start.
No way they do.
Yeah, so it'll probably be for next year. I forget who's producing it, but it's CBS, right? Peacock. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm the same like you. I don't want to judge it right away, but I am looking forward to seeing it and to see how this new cast will, if they'll capture us, if their portrayals of their characters are really well, and how funny it is, and see what kind of comedy they can imbue into the show with today's society, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone's sensitive and everyone's like, oh, cancel them right away if I don't like that joke. So I'm actually excited to see a comedy show like this, because this does push the edge a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like just lately, like regular just sitcoms, I haven't seen too many out there that are good.
Agreed. Yeah, I think comedy needs to push the edge all the time. It always has to test where that line is. Um, whether you win over the audience or not, it's got to be always tested. So, and that's what makes a good show, at least a sitcom.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on then. Have you heard that they are making a live action Scooby-Doo series for Max?
This one I had not heard of at all.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just heard that they're I guess producing a live action series. Um, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with any of the past movies. But it'll be interesting to see a live action series for Scooby Doo, considering one of the characters is going to have to be CGI.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, are you excited hearing this news?
Not really.
Not really. Is it one of those this is unnecessary and I didn't want this?
I know I'm not asking for it, but I'm also almost a 40-year-old man, so but past the cartoons, there like I haven't really been into Scooby-Doo really at all.
Right.
But this might be something kids want. They've redone Ninja Turtles, and kids are still in love with Ninja Turtles. So yeah, sometimes you just got to realize content's not always for you. It might have been stuff that came around when you were growing up, but sometimes remakes aren't always for us. So
Right.
you can't hate on everything.
I think that's how it goes with the Star Wars movies as well. Like,
Now, Star
we
Wars is
grew up
for us. It's for us.
we grew up watching them, but we grew up as kids watching them.
Yeah.
And so they were meant for kids at the time. And so when you think about it, they're making Star Wars movies for kids and teenagers and stuff like that. And we tend to take it personal sometimes.
But stuff like Bad Batch, that's really good.
Right.
I'm definitely gonna jump into Tales of the Empire, because Tales of the Jedi was really good too. So I think they're doing well with Star Wars. The only thing with Star Wars I didn't really love was the movies, and that could be a whole different show. So I'm gonna stop there.
It's all good. No, we all have the same kind of sentiments, right? We
Yeah.
love our Star Wars, but we haven't had the best of content necessarily through movies.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's always the future, so hopefully they'll do better. Also, have you ever watched the Percy Jackson and Olympians show on Disney?
I have not watched the movie at show this current show.
Uh-huh.
But I've watched some of the older movies. So this is already out.
Yeah, so I actually watched the entire series. The series is already finished. It did just start in December 20th. So it started last year, and
Okay.
I think the end of January was the last episode. And I really enjoyed it. So I did watch the movie, the original movies, and they were okay, but this is actually, I felt more fleshed out. Also, a lot more lore into Greek mythology, more in depth lore, and connecting it to the real world. So I really dug this. I dug the actors. So all three of these actors are really great. Never heard of them before, really, and they did a tremendous job playing their roles. Um, they even had special guests, as you can see on the right. I think
Edge.
that's Edge, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the guy in the bottom is a comedian. He's
Yeah.
been in a lot of shows, especially like what was it, that Philadelphia, Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up in that show. So like they have a good list of different guest stars. They've had other guest stars as well, but this show is really well done, well produced, and it looks fantastic. So I would recommend to you and your wife to watch this.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to take a look at it. I know I as soon as basketball is over,
Yes, it is.
then
Enjoy.
yeah, then there's going to be a
Yes.
lot of downtime. So
Yeah, Caitlin
uh
says way better and closer to the books than the movie.
okay, so she's already watched it, but she turns on TV way more than I do. I turn on sports mainly. Um but then I'll sprinkle in a little here, a little there of other stuff. So I'm gonna have to pick this up. It looks like I can just turn it on and maybe while I'm playing a video game or something, and be looking at it. Hopefully, I don't get too into the video game and then have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Greek mythology, which I do, I was really into it. There's so many elements of it in it, so that's exciting to me. So I don't know. Hopefully, it'll catch your attention. I think it will.
Yeah,
It is a kids kind of show, but I still think like I enjoyed it as a almost 50-year-old man. So, but anyways, they are just going into production, filming for the second season, in the fall. So that means this might not even be released until the end of 2025. Because you would assume filming goes through until winter, and then all the post production that takes months because there's a lot of CGI in this as well.
yeah. I think the one thing with Disney Plus though is they release on their own schedule. So if they have a show that is ending, they'll throw that in. So I think it's still end of 2025, but they'll decide whenever they feel is good and release it though.
Yeah, I just hope they do it sooner than later, just because the kids age fast, right?
True.
Like they'll go through changes, they'll growth spurts, voices. So hopefully they can get this through, because I know this is going to be more than just 2 seasons.
Yeah. That's that whole thing, kids aging, is
Yeah.
one thing I thought about when they said they were going to finish off Avatar. Because the kid that they have playing Aang, I like him, but he's going to be a teenager soon.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of one of the actors like while he's in this as the character, and then today, and it's like, oh wow, that kid's grown
You can already
already.
tell a difference. Yeah,
it's crazy. But hopefully they get this done quick, because I am enjoying it. All right, let's move on to The Boys. Have you seen The Boys trailer?
I actually just watched it. I've been meaning to watch it for like the last week, but I just watched it before.
Nice. So what did you think? Because I mean, I think it comes out in June, June 13th.
Oh, nice. That
Yeah,
means
so it's not
not
far
coming
away.
up.
It's about a month, a little more than a month away. And obviously, The Boys has taken the world by storm. This is like the real world of what if you had like superheroes in your world. You know
Yeah,
how they would abuse their powers, and I mean, just that first episode of the first season alone just makes you just wonder what the hell you were just watching.
yeah, yeah. That was one thing with the trailer, and I've watched all of the seasons of The Boys so far, so I wasn't really surprised, but there was a lot of blood in the trailer.
Yes.
um, but it looked interesting. It's one of those things where I saw it and I was like, I definitely want to pick it back up. I have not read The Boys comics at all, except for the one that came out free comic book day, which was a reprint of the one of the episodes last season. I'm gonna leave it there.
Oh,
uh,
oh, yes, yes. I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. But I haven't read it at all, so everything is new to me when it comes to The Boys. So I'm interested to see where it goes. But I'm definitely going to be watching it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, same here. When I first watched the first episode, I only knew that it was a comic book, but I never read it. And I was so caught off guard. I was I was so it definitely caught me off guard, but in a good way. And so I enjoyed it really, really well, just because it's so different from everything else that we've been getting as well.
Yeah, I mean that instant thing where that dude ran through that
Oh,
guy.
just him sitting there, not realizing what just happened.
Right.
That was something else, and that definitely what got me into this show. And have you watched Gen V as well?
Yeah, we finished up Gen V.
I like how they're making the connection right away.
Yeah,
It looks like they're going to be some kind of interns for the Seven.
pretty much.
I'm sure they'll be used in the worst and most wrong way ever. And I'm happy that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in this now. Almost everybody from the Supernatural cast has now shown up. And then I'm really excited to see what these new superheroes are how they're going to fit into this storyline.
Yeah, like the girl on here.
Mm-hmm.
You know who she is?
The Firecracker, the one in red.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So she's Firecracker, and I think she's supposed to be like a Homelander stand.
Okay.
You know,
Uh,
very into his way of thinking, and that's why her colors seem very similar to his. Yeah. So, what's going on, Steve? Thanks for
hey,
dropping
what's up,
in.
man? No, you said that, and her accent. I was like, that's a great name for her with that accent.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. I know there's another female behind her is another new superhero. I forgot what her powers were because they were explaining it on Amazon, but uh, I mean, she looks badass. They all look really cool. I really can't wait to see how they integrate the Gen V characters, and if we'll even get a callback to the Gen V characters that are being held.
Yeah.
Especially now that one of the actors has passed away.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that. So you said
Yeah.
that.
Well, they said that they're not going to replace him, so they might just kill him off camera. Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens with that.
But yeah, I was about to say we'll see what happens with that because we saw what happened with Black Panther after they decided to replace him.
Sir, we won't touch that subject because that's touchy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great actor, but
I know it's there are things greater than the person
Yeah,
always, and I don't think it was necessarily right to just tie that character to that actor.
yeah.
Um, but that's a whole nother episode. Yeah, we can talk about that in the off camera, sir. All right, let's move on. Have you been watching Cobra Kai?
Oh, I have not watched Cobra Kai since probably season 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, well that's okay. I mean, I'm sure you can always catch up one day, or if it's not for you, maybe you can watch the last season just because right after the season ends, they're going to release that Karate Kid movie with
Okay.
with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. I think it's Jackie Chan. Yeah.
So tell me after season 2, because I think it just seemed like too much late 90s
Callbacks.
you know how they would have the commercials talking about kids being in gangs and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It got to that point with me, and I was just like, we can do more with this than it just being this group is this gang and this group is that gang.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It was very like too much on the nose. What's up, JD?
Yeah.
Too in your face, too also too meta at times. And so yeah, I understand that. I was getting a little over it as well until they moved on in the future seasons. So I mean, they got past it eventually. It's a little less of that throwing the 90s in your face. So I mean, I just enjoy it just because it's just nostalgia, I guess. And the kids, they're good actors, so I enjoy that as
Yeah.
well. And I love the fact that I know you haven't gotten there yet, but they include other characters from the movies.
Okay.
So yeah, eventually once you catch up, you'll see what I see, and you'll get excited again. But yeah, the season 6 is the final season. It is going to be broken up into 3 parts. There's 15 episodes, so I would assume it's 5 episodes per part. And the first one is supposed to come out on July 18th. The part 2, 6 through 10, is supposed to come out November 28th.
Okay.
And then part 3 will be in 2025, probably early 2025. And then after that, the Karate Kid movie will be released. So we haven't gotten dates for those 2 yet, but I'm sure they're going to sync it up where the movie is released after the show is over.
Yeah, I'll have to give it another try. I laugh because the one kid for Blue Beetle, I still haven't watched Blue Beetle.
Okay, you know what? For Blue Beetle, it is not as bad as people might say it is. It's cheesy, don't get me wrong. It's cheesy, but not over the top cheesy. There is one character that I go, okay, that was over the top. That reminded me of like Wonder Woman 84. But I can handle that because that character wasn't in the movie as much.
I'll have to watch it. Like this is one thing. Like actually for the trip that I was just on, I had downloaded it, but like my travel was so early that I pretty much slept instead of watching anything. I think the only thing that I did accomplish is I finished reading Attack of the Amazons that ended a couple of months ago.
Okay, yeah. I mean, take your time. There's all kinds of stuff to watch, so you'll never have nothing to watch.
This is what the summer is for.
Yes, yes. Catch up time. Yeah. Let me know when you watch Blue Beetle. I think you'll enjoy at least the concept of the Blue Beetle and and the actor, right? Or who's he supposed to be? I forgot his name.
Um,
Billy? No.
Robbie Reyes. No,
Yes,
is that Robbie Reyes? Or is
yes,
that
it's Robbie
okay?
Reyes. No,
I was gonna say Robbie Reyes. I think is
isn't that Ghost
the
Rider?
yeah. I think it's Robbie something.
Yeah, gosh, my mind is. I have bad memory right now, but yeah, let me know what you think of that interaction. All right, let's move on to the next one. Have you heard of Paul W. Hauser?
I heard somebody talk about this announcement.
Yeah, so he was in I Tanya. He was in that movie about the Atlanta Games, the bombing at the Atlanta Games. He's been a bunch of movies, and he's a pretty darn good actor. I mean, really good actually. And he's been cast as Chris Farley in the in I guess it's not a biographical, but it's like is it a biographical?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
biographical movie about Chris Farley, and he has been casted as Chris Farley, which is crazy because that's a huge role to me because I was such a Chris Farley fan. Loved all his movies. His stupid and silliness is sad to that he had to, leave this earth early. But you play dumb games, you get stupid prices.
Yeah.
And then he's also been casted as Captain Ed in the new Naked Gun reboot. So
Okay.
that'll be cool to see him as that. I think he'll fit that role perfectly. He's got that silliness. And then he's also been casted as someone in the Fantastic Four movie. No one has said who exactly he is playing, but there are a lot of rumors going around, and one of them is Mole Man.
Yeah, I think they go with Mole Man. It's got to be Mole Man with and even if so we got that Fantastic Four announcement where it was showing more about their origins, right? So even if it's just like a small flashback and then they kick into like modern times, he could be Mole Man, and I would actually like that because that's literally issue 1 of Fantastic Four.
It's literally the first thing you see.
Right.
I think there's a good chance he is Mole Man. So obviously everyone have heard these rumors that the Fantastic Four is going to take place in another Earth, in another universe, right? In the multiverse. And that Galactus and Silver Surfer are involved. But there's always been this rumor, even before all of that came out, that the beginning of the movie would start with a battle with the Mole Man. And that was a great concept because obviously that's the first thing that we all know about the Fantastic Four. That's the first issue. And that'd be cool because he doesn't have to be in it long.
Right.
And more than likely it's a one-time deal. I don't know if he would last long in the MCU.
Not at all.
Yeah, so I mean, just give him his moment, and that'd be great. We'll always remember him as the Mole Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to go. Give him maybe the first 20, 30 minutes in the movie,
Right?
and give us Doom.
We'll get there. I don't know if we'll get there even at the end of the movie. Maybe an end credit scene, because if Doom is part of this movie, they will probably not announce who is playing Doom until halfway through production, if not toward the end of production.
Or they use the Thanos formula,
right,
and
where he
build
just
him
shows
up.
Yeah. Some end credit scene in Latveria, where he gets the crown, where he, overtakes, whoever's ruling. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to see him any of these roles. And whatever role he is in Fantastic Four, I think even if it's not Mole Man, I think he'll do a great job. He's a great actor, so Marvel's pretty good at picking good actors. Oops. Go back one. Okay, so Craven the Hunter, that's being done by Sony, with this big gentleman here, Aaron Taylor Johnson. The movie has been pushed back, and the reason it's been pushed back is because of Karate Kid. And so instead of it being coming out in August 30th, it is now going to come out December 13th. So it's been pushed back about 3.5 months. And I don't know. I don't know if they use it as an excuse to push it back because the Karate Kid movie moved, so they put it in that slot. But I worry because it's Sony and Madam Web failed so dramatically. And, Morbius was not that great. And now they're doing another villain character solo movie. So I don't know. What do you think of this upcoming movie?
I mean, the trailer didn't look that bad. I think one of the problems one of the problems I constantly have with these Sony movies is how involved actual Spider-Man is.
Or the lack of.
Pretty much. Because I think so. I was talking to somebody earlier this week. You know how Joker has his own movie. Joker has his own movie is because they have brought Joker to the main stage multiple times already, where people recognize Joker, people like Joker. Craven hasn't been in anything with Spider-Man to develop a following is one of the first things. So a lot of people, if they aren't reading comics, they don't know who Craven is.
They don't even know it's a name. They're like, what are they craving? Are they that hungry?
Right. And that was one of the things I had with Madam Web is most of the characters in Madam Web aren't well-known spider people. On top of that, you get a Gwen. A lot of people know who Gwen is, whether you're super into comics or not. Jessica Drew is one of my favorite, but people don't necessarily know who Jessica Drew is. If you wanted to do something with her as one of the Spider Women,
you would only know if you ever watched the Spider Woman like television show in the 70s or 80s,
right? So we'll see how Craven is. It looked interesting, but who knows? I still actually haven't seen Madam Web, to be honest with you.
I haven't seen it either, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but I'm just talking about how well it was perceived or received
how it was received
by the rest of the other audiences, and they got like zero love, basically.
Basically, yeah. Is it out on something streaming? I know my wife tried to watch it, and I told her until we could watch it for free, I'm out.
yeah, it's the same for me too, and it's Sony, so it would be hard to say where it would come out. So we'll have to wait and see which streaming service gets it. But I'm sure it'll be pushed around Netflix and maybe even Warner Brothers, Max or Amazon. So
I actually looked according to Forbes next week.
Hey, when it comes out that quick on streaming, yeah,
it says May 14th on Netflix is what Forbes says. So
wow,
let's hope it's right. We'll watch it in the next 2 weeks or so.
Let me know how it is, sir. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. These are some concept promo art that was released for the new Captain America Brave New World. It looks like Sam is going to get a helmet. It looks like he's going to have a Captain America helmet. And obviously, you can see the symbol over here is Captain America. And then you've got the new Falcon.
Okay.
So I think it's Torres.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, at least we know that Captain America is still going to have his Falcon. Just going to be two people in two new roles. And I don't know. What do you think of these concepts helmets for Captain America and Falcon?
Feel nothing towards them, to be honest.
That's fair.
The length of time between the Captain America and Winter Soldier show in this movie has killed my excitement for the movie coming out.
I hear you.
But yeah, is any of this from the comics, these helmets or anything? Or
not that I can remember. I mean, the Falcon looks familiar, but I don't remember Sam ever having a helmet.
Me either. It almost at first glance I thought it was an Ant-Man helmet.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are saying that.
So yeah, this does nothing for me. I need to see a preview, a trailer, something.
You need to see it like real life, basically.
Yeah, because it's just my excitement level has died down all around this movie right now.
Yeah, it sucks too. I mean, it not necessarily any fault of its own, but serendipitously, it's a good thing that all the things that happened before this movie was ever gets released, like all the strikes and stuff like that, that this got delayed and that they can reshoot and remake the movie, because from what I've heard, everyone would have hated this movie. So, and I would have been sad that that Sam gets his first movie and it's just a bomb.
Yeah.
And I really like this character too. So I really hope that he brings like some honors the role, honors the character, and is able to that they write a good story. I don't really even care about anything else other than just write a great story.
Yeah, that's where they're at with a lot of these movies now is write a great story. And sorry, I was trying to make sure I wasn't ruining anything.
No, you're good.
I know they were talking about pacing the what they're bringing out. Was that something that you had in here later in the deck?
What's that?
Pacing the amounts of content that they're putting out.
Oh yeah. I have that later on in the deck,
okay.
So we'll get there and talk about that. It'll be a good change for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get to that, let's talk about this rumor going around that Chris Evans has been signed back on to do an MCU role. And a lot of people are saying that he's already filmed his role and that it's going to be in the Wolverine Deadpool movie. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And it's going to be a cameo. I've always said that Chris Evans would always return to play Human Torch one day. But we don't know. It could be a Captain America role. It could be Human Torch. It could be both. What do you think about seeing Chris Evans return?
One thing I will say is I like Chris Evans a lot. What was the name of that movie? He was
Scott
in a
Pilgrim
movie.
versus the World?
No, he was in a movie. It was a bunch of different dudes. where he was like a computer geek, and just seeing his range is one thing that I liked about him. So I'd be excited to see him again, as long as it's not corny, because that's one of the big things is them just throwing stuff together. Um, we know he went back in time to spend his time with Peggy. Um, how's it going to fit in? Is it going to be a flashback and we're getting a bunch Chris Evans? Is it going to be like you said? He's actually in the MCU as his old Human Torch thing, and we get a little bit of a joke. I'd be okay with that, but make it make sense. Don't destroy your other movie.
You know what I would want? I wouldn't mind the Human Torch thing, because that would be the joke alone, let alone the rumors of Jessica Alba returning as Invisible Woman. So that would make sense, right? They're brother and sister. But I wouldn't mind seeing a flashback of whatever this Wolverine is, this Logan, that it's a World War II setting, and that they fought together in World War II, just like in the comics.
Yeah.
And that would be cool to me too. That would make sense. That would make his past or history more serious, and that the Avengers existed in his world, and he failed them all. So
this is the movie. It's called The Losers. It had him, Zoe Saldana, Idris Elba. Yeah, now I want to go back and rewatch it.
I've seen that movie. Yes, that is a good movie.
Is that yeah? It's got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it too. Yeah, now I want to go back and watch that again.
Oh yeah, everyone go check out The Losers. Yeah, so I'm excited either which way. More Chris Evans in the MCU is all good for me. That's why I'm saying bring back Robert Downey Jr. Fine, that's fine too. Also, this guy here, Giancarlo Esposito, he has been rumored for a long time. He's been clamoring to become the new Professor X in the MCU, but now it is. I don't want to say it's rumored. I think it's been written already that he has signed on to a role in the MCU, but it's not going to be Professor X. So, what do you think of adding Giancarlo to the MCU, and what role do you think he might be playing? And so he did say in an article that it would happen sooner than later. So I'm guessing it's going to be in these next couple of phases, which is we're currently in phase 5, and then phase 6 ends with the Kang Dynasty / Secret Wars movies.
I'm trying to think. I can't pin him to a role. I'm excited to see what they do with him though. I mean, Giancarlo Esposito, he's been in a little bit of everything, and he has done the majority of it well.
Yes.
So
wasn't he in Do the Right Thing?
I think so.
Oh man, there's a couple of Spike Lee movies he was in.
Yeah, but he's been in a lot. Even recently, Moff Gideon is one of the big things. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what they would do with him. I'm trying to think, and nothing's coming to mind of what he would be. But it's definitely they're going to somewhat change some character for him. But even because I think that he had that talk with it being Professor X, right, and not being in a wheelchair, which I was like, okay, that's kind of what is going on in some of the current run of X-Men. Professor X is able to walk, but
right.
people didn't love the current one either. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now, I mean, I think I heard a rumor or in that article that he said it would be an unexpected character, and I think it would be a new character that has not been introduced in the MCU yet. So I mean, I'm curious. I don't know what to think either. Maybe it's the Maker. Is it the Maker? The Mr. Fantastic variant.
I think that's too soon to try to. But I mean, we are already in the
The multiverse. Yeah.
so it's very possible.
Yeah, I could see him playing that role at least. I mean, I don't know if he actually be playing it or if they even create that character.
Yeah,
I mean, he is a part of Secret Wars, so we'll see if Giancarlo is going to be around any longer than just one role or one episode. Yeah, he was a badass Gus Fring, that's for sure. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm sure we'll find out sooner rather than later, anyways. All right. There is this stupid rumor going around that The Rock has signed is they want The Rock to play Apocalypse in the MCU, and that he signed. I don't believe it, but it's not necessarily to say that it wouldn't happen in the future or that this is a plan. But my problem is there is no X-Men movies planned anytime soon, and there are no scripts for any of these planned X-Men movies. And if you don't have a script, how are you casting for a character that doesn't exist in a script that doesn't exist?
yeah, and
Do you think it's just like a PR thing?
It's got to be. But that's my other thing. Like the next big bad. Who's the next big bad?
Right.
Apocalypse could be a big bad and not a one-time movie. Doctor Doom could be a big bad and not a one-time movie. Like, are we going to waste some of these characters on a one-time movie? Unless they have some of these big bads, they start creating their own script and they have their own teams. That would be my only thing. But like, if you're going to create a team, let's get the Sinister Six.
Right? Like
a team that's there already.
To me, we've already seen Apocalypse by Oscar Isaac, right? That movie was not the most loved mutant movie, X-Men movie.
Right.
But it was okay. Just not the most loved. And some people complain about the way Apocalypse looked. I think the MCU would make him look great. I think that's what they're going to do with Galactus as well. They're going to redeem him from a cloud. But to me, Apocalypse is one of those villains that you might defeat him one day, but he's not going to be just gone after that.
Yeah.
And the best story about Apocalypse is the Age of Apocalypse, in my opinion. And you can't get that unless you have a backstory of him existing as one of the biggest foes that the X-Men can't defeat.
Yeah.
Right. And you would show that kind of world. So I hope if he is, like, I wouldn't mind The Rock being the Apocalypse, but let's get there first. And let's hope that I just don't want Apocalypse to be the first villain.
Yeah.
And I'm also fine with Magneto not being the first villain either. I like the rumors going around that it would be Sinister. Would be the X-Men's first enemy.
We'd love to be Sinister.
Yeah, I mean, Sinister is one of my favorite villains as well. He's devious enough to, make you think that he was defeated and come back.
Yeah.
So I would like that instead. I would go completely elsewhere from Magneto and Apocalypse just because they've been in the X-Men movies already in the Fox universe. So we can always circle around and come back to them, but let's start off somewhere else because there's so many villains.
Right. Right. Yeah. And my one thing is I would love to see a Magneto regardless.
Yes.
But
He doesn't have to be a villain.
right.
So I mean he could be Charles Xavier's old friend.
Exactly.
No. That's all he has to be at this point. But yeah. Hopefully this rumor is not necessarily true or that this is years and years and years and years away. All right. And then here we go. This is what you were talking about earlier, James. Marvel from Papa Bob Iger, he has told everyone that they are going to limit the Marvel Cinematic Universe to about approximately 3 movies a year and 2 Disney Plus shows. This is usually this is the thought process of going back to how great the MCU was when they only had about 2 to 3 movies a year. And I think this is a good break for Kevin Feige so he's not bogged down in different, not bogged down, but stretched in so many different directions. I think in 2022, they released 9 different series movies for the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that was under the old regime of Bob Chapek. And that's why Bob Iger's here and he's changing all the rules again. He's going back. What do you think of them limiting their movie releases to 2 to 3 movies a year and 2 Disney Plus series?
I wish they would have. I wish they would have done it for Love and Thunder. I really wish it, but I think that's part of what kind of triggered it, because apparently Chris Hemsworth has been coming out talking about how Thor has become more of a joke than anything else. Mm-hmm. And
he did blame himself, especially for the takes that he took and what do you call it, ad-libbing, right?
Yeah, but man, that movie could have been so much better if we got more gore, like we focused on something on right. that movie. So I think that's going to be one thing that's going to help them thoroughly go through scripts and then thoroughly rewatch things and get a real feel for it. Not, oh yeah, it's done, let's put it out there. No, we're going to bring some people back in for reshoots of this. Let's get this right. That's what I'm hoping this does. Is it allows them to focus on the content and not just focus on getting things out. And if they did 9 different things in 2022, this was one of them, and it probably came out too early.
Yeah, I've been telling people, and I know people are always asking and calling for Kevin Feige's head. I tell people he has a boss too, and if his boss tells him to produce, he needs to produce.
Yeah,
there's nothing he can do about that. And that sucks because if you're asked to produce 9 different, series movies in 1 year, and you're the head guy in charge of that studio, that's a lot to ask.
All over the place.
Yeah, of course he's not going to have any time to connect everything together or remember this, remember that this continuity is here. And, it's always going to get screwed up and look discombobulated.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the other things that's really missing. How things tied together. It feels like you could always find something that tied back to something else in another movie in these movies, but it was like a rough connection versus the first three phases of the MCU. Actually, like you're like, oh yeah, you remember this thing that they did here? It was like that. But yeah, they talked about like in these current movies, they talked about this in this movie. That's how it relates to that. Like it wasn't
It's lazy writing.
right.
Yeah, it's definitely a writing issue. I honestly believe the whole thing is if he's not able to keep track of everything that's being written when there's that many projects going on, he has to trust somebody else to
Yeah.
greenlight some of these things for him. And I think that's a problem because then once one domino falls, the rest of them will fall right after that. Right? It's not it's not something that you can just willy-nilly do and go, oh, I'm really good at this, so I can go back to all 9 of these projects at any time. No. There's only one Kevin Feige, and there's only one guy running this whole show. So to pull him in that many directions is asking too much of any person. So I'm glad they're scaling everything back. I'm also sad that they're scaling back because hell, who doesn't want more but good stuff? You know, but it's got to be good.
Yeah.
So if I need to sacrifice more for quality, you know, quantity for quality, I'll take it every day of the week. Just give me 3 good movies a year that everyone will enjoy, that makes sense, and people start calling for his head.
Well, Feige and Filoni just need to get together and discuss things because Star Wars does drop a lot of content,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very good with keeping ties. Like even now, they're making the movies that nobody loved make sense in their content right now.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Filoni is an apprentice of Lucas. He grew up with Lucas basically in this industry, so he basically knows Star Wars in and out, and hates that Lucas got a bad rap for the prequels, and he wanted to make it all make sense why he did those prequels.
Oh no, I'm talking about the sequels.
Oh,
He's making the sequels make sense. Like I've
that
never
too.
personally had a problem with the prequels. The only thing that I probably had issues with the prequels is at points in times Hayden Christensen sounded really whiny. But the actual movies were never bad for the prequels. The sequels, they had some rough spots. Like the
Oh yeah.
the 3 that came out most recently, yeah, they had some rough spots.
Yeah, and you're right. They are making sense of that too with the Bad Batch and everything like that. So I mean, I am happy that he's doing that and is making all of that world make sense now to us. Although in the end, I don't think that he can make it all redeemable.
Yeah.
That whole Ray Palpatine thing that messes me up all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, you guys let us know what you think. This is what you guys, the internet has been clamoring for: less movies, more quality; less shows, more quality. And so let's see if they do that, right? Because you can still release 3 movies and 2 shows, and they can all still be 5 crappy movies and shows. But we'll see what happens going forward. And I don't. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. So before we get to this, I forgot to add one more thing. I wanted to talk about the He-Man Masters of the Universe live action movie that's being greenlit. So if you guys don't know, Amazon MGM has purchased the rights to the Masters of the Universe movie from Netflix and from everywhere else, basically. And Travis Knight is supposedly going to sign on and direct this. and it's has a release date. It's June 5th of 2026. So for all you Masters of the Universe, you He-Man fans, there is a movie that actually has a release date. Although it's 2 years from now, I guess that's a better than what's been, what we've gotten over the last 20 years or plus of all those rumors of something coming out. But there is a synopsis as well. And I'll read this real quick. It's 10-year-old Prince Adam was who crashed to Earth in a spaceship and was separated from his magical power sword, the only link to his home on Eternia. After tracking it down almost 2 decades later, Prince Adam is whisked back across space to defend his home planet against the evil forces of Skeletor. But to defeat such a powerful villain, Prince Adam will first need to uncover the mysteries of his past and become He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. I mean, what do you think of this news? Because I know, just like any of us nerds, you've heard them say, oh, they're going to make this He-Man live action movie or this for probably 2 to 3 decades.
I think it'll come out just because of the age
All the
of
nostalgia.
Content. Well, just the age of content we're in. Almost anything that they have said they're going to make comes out. Not anything that comic book people have been speculating they're going to make, but anything that they've had announcements for has come out. So I think they're going to do it. And I'm excited to see what they do with Skeletor.
I'm 50-50 on this right now because, like, I've been clamoring for a He-Man movie ever since the Dolph Lundgren one. That one throws me off. I watched it as a kid. I have the toys from the movie. I was a little disappointed because it wasn't the He-Man or the Masters of the Universe world that I grew up watching on television or reading in the little mini comic books. I didn't recognize that He-Man. And now that the synopsis, I read it, it almost sounds the same, that he's on Earth. I'm so weirded out that he would be on Earth. I think this is, and if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure this is She-Ra's origin story, where she crash landed on a planet in a spaceship. So, and once she was separated from her twin brother, right?
Yeah, that sounds similar.
Not my Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, I don't know. I'm skeptical, but I'm hopeful because Travis Knight is a good director. He did a good job with Bumblebee, in my opinion. I think they have a better idea of what He-Man is. It is a space drama. It's a sci-fi, kind of movie. So I hope they get that right. The tone of it needs to be correct. And they gotta, if there's parts of He-Man universe and history that is silly, and I want them to lean into it.
Yeah.
I don't want them to shy away or try to explain it away. I just lean into it.
I want them to these Skeletor memes. I want them to hit one of them.
Yes. And there's so many.
Yeah.
You pick one, just one at least. Yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm also skeptical. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah, and in a year, I hope that we get more news about how this story is being written, and find out who is going to be cast. Because I've heard so many names connected to it already, like John Cena, like Alan Ritchson. playing He-Man. I don't know if they're gonna do the whole shrink him like in Captain America where they did to Chris Evans, or if they're gonna actually, cast somebody who's gonna play Prince Adam.
I need what I need them to do is to go get somebody that's not a huge name, somebody that's done something that's not a huge name, and then make them into a star. That I think that's one of the things that a lot of stuff is missing is they're not making people into stars. So we're getting a whole lot of the same older people recast, like
Right.
John Cena.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Like I'm not gonna say he's a bad actor because he's not. He's silly. He fits certain roles, but he's also like 50 something, and I'm like, I'm not saying you can't do this, but don't. That's not He-Man. Like use somebody younger.
Right, and you want if this is a successful movie, you want sequels.
Right.
Right, and that comes into question when you get an older actor. I honestly think Alan Ritchson is not a bad idea. He's not a huge movie star. He's only been known for his role as Reacher, and that's more recently, even though I've known of him since Smallville. I mean, I think it would work, especially if he doesn't become Batman.
Yeah, I could see that. For him, I think one of the things would be keeping on a good schedule if that's the case.
Right.
But you have to keep up with stuff, not drop something and then what's the movie like Shang-Chi, the gap since we've seen him.
As an Asian, I am disappointed and very upset because look, it's not like it's the Asian anthem of all movies for Asians. Okay, it's just not, but it's our only superhero in the whole Marvel and DC universe.
And he's been on the back burner.
Yep.
And we haven't heard anything else that he's going to be in.
Zip, zilch.
Like when you do that to movies, like any excitement that was there for them, it just disappears. So
yeah,
hopefully, if they were to cast Alan Ritchson as He-Man, they keep things moving. They don't go stale on it.
Yeah, no. Don't turn this into a Blade.
Right.
All right. We'll move on to the last item here. If everybody has seen this picture of the new that was released by James Gunn of the new Superman, David Corenswet, and it's the whole uniform in all its glory. Yes, he's not standing up and posing for us, but you kind of get the gist of what's going on here. He is putting on his boots, and there's a battle outside of his window already. There are now the whole talk, all obviously over the whole internet, is mostly about what the uniform looks like, right?
Yeah.
You can tell it's battle damage, so it looks like he's been in battle. Usually, the first promo that they show people of the suit is usually a nice clean version of it. I kind of dig that it isn't. We will eventually get to see the nice clean version of it, sure. But I dig the fact that he's putting him out there, showing him that, this is a Superman who's fighting a lot of villains, basically, or protecting the world. And he puts on one boot at a time, like the rest of us. But I also enjoy the fact that, so I took these pictures, like the Christopher Reeve Superman, the New 52, the Kingdom Come. He's literally pulled elements from each one of those costumes.
Yeah.
And there are other costumes he's pulled from as well. I would have to nitpick it and see better pictures of it. But I feel like these boots remind me of the original Christopher Reeve boots. The collar is the New 52, and his symbol is obviously the Kingdom Come. So and also the way the cape is on him, that's built into a suit, it's kind of the same way as the New 52 as well.
Right.
So I mean, what do you think of the suit, first of all?
I mean, I'm gonna put it this way. I've never been as critical as a lot of people. I
Mm-hmm.
looked at it, I was like, oh cool, they're letting us know that they are still doing with stuff with Superman. It's moving along.
Right.
Like I didn't look at the suit and
Nitpick
critique
it.
it really
Yeah.
at all. It's okay to me. And well, you said first, so I'm gonna leave it there and see what your next question is.
Well, there is this one thing going around where people are talking about he's wearing the trunks.
Yeah.
He's wearing the red trunks. This was the question that James Gunn put to people on Instagram and Twitter, and he asked them trunk or no trunks. Obviously, James Gunn has chosen, and he picked the trunks. I don't care either damn which way.
Me too.
Honestly, that wasn't important. I mean, it's as a geek, you want to know. That's it. But once I know, I don't care anymore. I now want to see the movie.
Right.
I want to see a trailer at least. I want to see that suit moving.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing. My eyes aren't going to be looking at his trunks.
Yeah,
I'm going to be paying attention to the movie as a whole.
There are some people who pay attention to their trunks.
Yeah, there are.
But like, I'm digging the suit. It's not too. I don't know about. I've ever been a fan of the whole. It has to be form fitting, completely stretched over all your muscles. Yeah, I get it. It makes you look bigger and more cut. But I don't think that's the important thing. I always thought the important thing was the story, how Superman makes you feel as a hero, and his connection to humans and the world that is completely different from him. So, like, I thought that's the most important part of Superman, and the hope that he brings, being able to stop the bad guy. So, I hope that's what the focus is, and that people get over his suit. I don't know why people wouldn't like it or would like it. There's no reason either which way. It doesn't matter at this point. This is what the suit's going to be. He's not going to change the suit.
Exactly. And then I mean, one of the other things, like you said, the form fitting and all that. I feel like there's going to be more CG in the movie when the movie comes out.
Well, they've already said they are not going to CG his suit.
Oh, really?
That's why he's showing the wrinkles. Like, there's a purpose. Like, he could take this photo and not have any wrinkles in the suit, have him posing in a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he did that on purpose. The wrinkles are there on purpose to show you this is not going to be CGI. This is the suit. This is going to be an actual physical suit that you're going to see on the screen.
Okay.
So I hope that's what he's saying. I know he said that there is not going to be CGI in the suit. So I don't know if they'll CGI the cape though, but the cape is there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to CGI the cape either. I think he's going to try to do it practically. Wind and whatever fishing line they have. And I hope it works. I mean, look, he's a smart guy. I'm sure he can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'll see. I hate judging or being too judgmental about almost anything until it comes out.
Yeah, and this is just a photo, the very first photo. We are going to get so many leaks in the future. We're going to get so many photos released by the studios in the future, by James Gunn himself. So don't worry about it. There's a picture here to his right. That is a picture he posted himself, the actor David Corenswet. and he's gotten buff. He has gotten pretty darn buff to fit the role. I am glad that he is putting every effort into that. And that just shows his dedication to me. And then in the picture in the background, there's this purple beam. And at first, I thought it was a purple beam going down to the earth. It looks like it's a purple beam going up into the air. And if you can see, that's why I put this little picture here of Green Lantern. Kyle Gardner is in this movie. So is that a Kyle Gardner right there?
That one I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you at all. I know people were talking about, is that Brainiac? I it's all guessing to me.
Right. Yeah, there are rumors that Brainiac is the villain, but James Gunn has said Lex Luthor is one of the main villains. There are also rumors of other people in this movie that could possibly be villains, like the Engineer. And there's rumors of a Bizarro version of Superman. There's all kinds of rumors. So at this point, I really don't care. I just want, again, a well-written DC movie to start off this new DCU, because I don't want it to fall off. I really don't. As much as a Marvel fan that I am, I'm also a DC fan, and it saddens me when you can't make a good Superman movie.
Yeah, not even just Superman. It's the way that movies have fallen off recently in general. That's why I haven't watched Blue Beetle yet. That's why I haven't watched Aquaman yet. That's why I didn't jump up and go watch Madam Web. Like, I didn't tell you before those. Yeah, I mean, even the Marvels. I watched that at home. But before, like, these recent string of movies, I was in the movie theater for every movie as it was released. Whether I was a huge fan of that superhero or not. So I want to get back to that, where I feel like I need to go see it when it releases.
I am with you, James. Like, the same for me. I went to every single first time weekend release of that movie, DCU or not, or MCU or independent or whatever the case may be. Always one of the first, and most likely multiple times. And I have not gone to watch movies, and it's not just because of the whole pandemic era. It's also because, like, why would I spend $20 to go watch a movie that I'm not going to really enjoy that much?
Right.
Or I'm going to be disappointed when I walk out of it. And I'm not usually a guy who gets disappointed watching movies. So it's not a good feeling when you go watch a movie like that. I equate it, like, I think this can everybody can relate to. It's like the quality of food at a restaurant or, fast food place, quality of food at fast food, you take that as you may, but, like, has gone down, but prices have gone up, right? Like, I feel like I'm getting ripped off now, even though I was already getting ripped off before. I kind of accepted that rip off, but now I feel like, oh, you think I'm stupid,
Yeah.
And I go to a movie, I'm going, oh, I am stupid. I paid for this movie.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. So in 2016, Batman versus Superman came out, right? But I was still going to every other movie because it was one dud here, but then you still were putting out other good movies. So I'm good. But 2022, 2023, it's been so consistently bad that, like you said, I'm not doing this anymore. So
see, but when you went to watch Batman v Superman, you go, okay, that wasn't what I expected. But then they came out with Wonder Woman,
right?
And Wonder Woman was dope.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, oh, okay, that, and then Aquaman threw you off. Right? Like, what? That was better than I thought. That was entertaining. But now, like you said, just the quality overall, the DCEU just died. You know, and then the MCU it got so thinned out that there's no quality control.
Yeah, they were just putting out movies. They weren't making them link like the reasons why people were like, oh, I have to watch this and I have to watch this and I have to watch this. Now people are just like, yeah, I mean, it's not building up to anything, so I'll watch it whenever.
Yeah, it's really sad. In Hollywood, they say making movies is making magic. Well, in this era, they just made movies. They didn't make magic. And there's a chance for all to be redeemed starting this July with Deadpool and Wolverine. I hope that experience sets off a chain reaction where all these other movies that everyone was like, we're a little dour about, we don't want to go watch them because we've been kind of tricked in the past to watch crappy movies. I hope they have better quality going forward, and just hire good writers.
All I'm going to say is Marvel is evil. I just realized Deadpool versus Wolverine is releasing SDCC weekend.
It is. I know that. I am trying to find a theater that does a Wednesday midnight showing. Because if I could do that, then I can watch it before getting to Comic-Con.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'll be out there, but I don't know if I'll be able to stay up that late.
I know. I'm gonna regret doing it, but I'm gonna try to do it anyways because I just don't want it ruined for me.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to get some sleep on a plane and then catch something.
Yeah. Hopefully you get to see it before you get to go to the con because that's 100,000 people. We're gonna spoil it for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am hopeful, and we'll see what happens going forward. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We don't have to nitpick this anymore. All right, I think we are all done. We do have some upcoming shows, so if you guys don't know, Nearing Nirvana has a variety show, and that's every Friday. But before Friday, there is a Thursday. So on Thursday, we have Long Story Short. Go follow and watch the fellas on Long Story Short. They talk about a bunch of comic books that are really rare or very limited or not well known. But again, they're very rare and cool comic covers. And then on Saturday, we have our morning Toy Box show. So West Coast Big Rob will be there. Hopefully Charlie, and hopefully Hip Hops and me, Steve, and myself. And we'll talk about all the new releases, as many as we can. And then on Monday, we have our favorite show, Cover Lovers, where we talk about the new covers for incentives and store exclusives coming up for that week. And then on Tuesday, we have the Comic Book Women's Market Report, where they're going to talk about a beloved character or current trends in the marketplace using Cover Price. And then, of course, we'll be back here on Wednesday for another Week in Geek. And then we'll give a shout out to our sponsors. We have Cover Price. If you want to get 30 days of unlimited Cover Price for only 99 cents, you just type in the code Nirvana14 and you go over to our pals or at Bird City Comics. You can save 10% off your purchase by using the code TNH10 at checkout. And then if you go to displaygeek.com, you can also save 10% with the code Team Nerd Herd on your very first purchase. Buy your, any protectors for your toys, your action figures, your video games, and you make some shelves for your collectibles. All right, and with that said, James, do you have anything to share or talk about?
This week, nothing. Nothing.
Well, if you want to find James, he is a great part of this community. You can go find him on IG at still_chilling_comics. I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for giving me your opinions on everything I put out there, and we'll talk in the back after this show.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and we're gonna say goodbye. If you want to do it right, click what you like and watch what you like. Peace.